The storied history continues in Week 6 between the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. Both teams fresh off one of their best offensive performances of the season, so it's going to be a lot of fun here on Cowboys Rewind. We're going to take you through everything. Jared Goff set an NFL record of most completions without an interception and scored a season-high 42 points in Week 4 before the Lions' bye week. And the Cowboys found out their run game runs through Rico Dowdle, having rushed for a season-high total rushing yards. He actually had a career day as well individually. But along with the run game success, the Cowboys found out their wide receiver room has playmakers outside of CeeDee Lamb. Tolbert showed he can be a reliable weapon again, and Dak showed he can still trust Hunter Lipke in the passing game. But in Brandon Cook's absence, Mike McCarthy needed a dog, someone who could make big plays and win those 50-50 balls. Jalen Tolbert was the guy, and he proved it with a game-winning touchdown. But was that enough to solidify him as wide receiver 2, even when Cooks returns? Well, the break crew shared their thoughts.
I don't think he will be the starter because I don't think this team does that. Like, I don't think they will take a guy like a Brandon Cooks, who has been a really good locker room guy for them. Veteran, good presence. I don't think that from injury they will be like, you can't start. Now, what I do think will happen is I think as Dak becomes more and more comfortable with the idea that Jalen Tolbert can get the job done, what we will see is over the second half of the year, I think Jalen Tolbert will be, in effect, your second wide receiver because the amount of opportunities he will get will be more than Cooks. And part of that is, I heard somebody say this, and I think there's a belief that this may be true, that essentially Brandon Cooks can be what the Cowboys use him for can be kind of replaced by a Turpin. Like they use him. They don't use him as a receiver that's running all around the field, using the entire route tree and really taking advantage of everything he can do. They use him more as a speed guy. And I think the difference is Tolbert's more than that, or at least the way they're using him is more than that. They're using him on a lot of different kinds of routes. And I think, quite frankly, one of the things I've noticed is it happened in this last game on the touchdown, but we've been seeing this throughout training camp and other times. Jalen Tolbert, I think, has some really strong hands. He may not get a lot of separation, but he knows how to make a contested catch. And what I think I see from Brandon Cooks more frequently than not is if you're on him, there's a good chance he won't catch the ball. Like in those kinds of situations, defender tends to break it up or he tends to not be able to hold on to it. And I think because of that, I think, again, Jalen Tolbert is just a more well-rounded wide receiver at this point in his career. And I think because of that, he's going to get more opportunities than Cooks, even though I think Cooks will come back and be the starter.
Jalen Tolbert with a career high in receptions and receiving yards in Week 5 against the Steelers. He'll be needed again against the Detroit Lions in Week 6. But you know who else had a career day? Rico Dowdle. Can he continue that momentum and build off the momentum heading into Week 6 against the Lions? I go one-on-one with him up next.
Cowboys Rewind is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. And by SWBC Mortgage, customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit swbc.com. This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
There was so much doubt about this Dallas Cowboys run game through the first 4 weeks. But in Week 5, Rico Dowdle says, hey, Mike McCarthy, it's no problem. I got you. How about Rico finishing with a career high for 87 yards, 20 carries, and a career high in 114 yards from scrimmage as well. He also added a touchdown catch in his second straight game. That was against the second best run defense at the time, by the way. But something Mike McCarthy and the running back room have been preaching is that there's been a lack of carries opportunity, and that's disrupted their rhythm. So I caught up with Rico this week and asked if he feels like if he's now in a rhythm, and here's what he had to say.
I feel like last game for sure, we kind of found that rhythm, and then just got to continue to keep building on that. But for sure, last game, I mean, it worked. It started working for us, and we stuck to it. So
you guys have had a gauntlet as far as defensive lines, run defenses specifically, this whole season. Talking about the Ravens, the Saints, the Steelers, all top 7 run defenses. But now you guys take on the Lions, who are a top 5 run defense. How much have those games prepared you guys for this game?
Like you said, we've been like a gauntlet, like you said, literally. The Ravens still, I think the Steelers are like top 3 or something in that run defense, but you know, it's just a challenge. So looking forward to the challenge, and I say each game, like I said, it's a game within the game. We gotta play better than we did last week and prepare to take on the Lions.
I've got to ask you this question: what makes it so hard for offenses to run the football against the Lions?
I think for one, they backers play pretty close to the ball, so you know you're not allowed to stay on your double teams as long when you playing against linebackers like that and a team like that, and so they like to plug it, get you off your double teams, and they definitely load the box up. But we'll see.
Something that I've also noticed is that they use all their defensive linemen, all 4 down linemen. They spread them out wide because they trust that their outside guys are going to get home. Especially like a guy like Aidan Hutchinson, who leads the NFL in quarterback pressures and sacks. So where do you all find success within this run game against that defensive line?
We'll have to see. You know, each week it's a player on the opposite side of the ball that you got to try and eliminate.
Yeah.
I mean, New York, it was Dexter, a great guy. And then, you know, last week they had T.J. Watt, and we were able to find success versus him. He plays kind of like Aidan, but Aidan moves around a little bit more. So just get out there and see and fill it out.
I love what Rico said right there. Every week there's a guy to eliminate. Well, Aidan Hutchinson will be the guy this week that leads the NFL in sacks, quarterback pressures, and leads all edge rushers in pass rush win rate. So the running backs and tight ends will be asked to do a little bit more this week to help out with the protection. But what's the best way to keep Dak clean and Aidan Hutchinson out of his face? Well, the Players Lounge crew share their thoughts.
But with Aidan Hutchinson coming here, be it Terrence Steele, whoever's left tackle, it's a concern. It is a concern. But once again, it's the next 2 games because you got the Lions, a bye week, and then you got the 49ers. So this run of people getting to the quarterback are there. And look, bottom line, Steelers were getting there. They were getting there, and there's a lot of quick step drops, and Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy came up with a good game plan. You got to do that a little bit again here today. And the Lions, in my opinion, going to come in here with some revenge on their mind because –
as they should.
Yeah, that was a game last year, Jerry World, that they thought they had.
Yeah.
And then, in my opinion, the head coach lost it.
Yeah.
Gambler Campbell.
Yeah, and he's lost them a couple of games with that gambler
NFC
mentality. They have 11 sacks on the season, and Aidan Hutchinson has 7 of them. Yeah, so you're going to have to pay you're going to have to pay attention to him. And the one thing that I love about him, just watching him play, is he's one of those players that's just never stops. It's like he's constantly after the ball. When the ball's away from him, going the other way, he's still pursuing the ball. And you just don't see that too much anymore with guys. And he's not a one-trick pony either. Meaning he's not one of those guys that's going to sit back there and just take advantage of rushing the passer. He's very tough against the run also. And so when you have a guy like that embodies so many things, you have to run things at him, counters. You got to get him down on the ground. I'm not saying cut the guy, chop him, do anything dirty, but you just got to make him think the way the teams have made Micah Parsons think several times, where they run 3 people at him, then they run nobody at him. He's just standing there like, what the hell do I do? You know, and you have to do that to Aidan Hutchinson the same way that you went after T.J. Watt. They did not go away from T.J. Watt. They ran at him. And I think with the emergence of Rico Dowdle, all right, my man Rico Dowdle, that gives you the confidence going into this game that obviously if your running game is clicking and firing, then that is going to he's still going to be a weapon, all right? But to neutralize that weapon, you just got to continue to run at him and beat him.
Aidan Hutchinson will primarily be lined up against Terrence Steele, but Tyler Guyton could see a little bit of that Aidan Hutchinson action as well. He's been dealing with a knee injury, but still been in practices all week long, so he's expected to play. But can he bounce back from the struggles that he's had all season long, or should the Cowboys move on from him as the season goes on? That's up next here on Cowboys Rewind.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I just think the biggest thing is it keeps you in rhythm on your call sheet. You're able to exercise your plan. The adjustments I thought we made in the second half were really good, especially in the run game. So that's definitely helpful. Just keeps you in favorable down and distances because obviously the third down was huge in that game for us. So and just being being able to be productive on first and second down was probably the best we had all year.
Mike McCarthy touching on what it does for him as a play caller as he is able to spread the ball around. This Cowboys offense able to spread the ball around, and they did so in Week 5 against the Steelers. 10 guys were able to touch the ball, and many of those times, though, were due to Dak Prescott making something out of nothing. No doubt the pass protection has struggled this year. They've allowed 17 pressures. Yes, 17, you heard that right, and 12 sacks. The most in 5 games since the 2020 season that saw the Cowboys finish 6-10 in Mike McCarthy's first year. Is this year a mirroring of 2020? Well, the Cowboys crew break it all down and how it could impact them on Sunday.
21.8% pressure rate allowed through the first 5 games. That is the highest pressure rate allowed through the first 5 games since the 2020 season. Mike McCarthy's first, which was also a season that ended in tragedy in Game 5. Knock on wood, that's not where I'm going with this, but point being, in the disaster season of 2020, that wasn't even as much pressure as what Dak Prescott has been up against in 2024. It's 21.7% pressure rate through the first 5 games of 2020, 21.8 through these first 5 games. Keeping in that same tune, in 2020, he was hurried 23 times. In 2024, he's been hurried 21 times. In 2020, he was sacked 10 times. In 2024, he's been sacked 12 times. So sacked more often.
Not good, Bob.
Not good, Bob. But here's where it really jumps out. He's been sacked more often, pressured more, hurried nearly as much with, 22 fewer blitzes.
Wow.
What is the? You know what I'm going with this, right? Teams are getting home on Dak Prescott more often than they did in the pressure-packed season of 2020 with fewer blitzes. 35% fewer times per game teams are blitzing Dak Prescott, and they're getting home without bringing that extra guy.
Yeah.
The front 5 has to improve going forward, especially now as we start to turn the page to the Detroit Lions and that defensive front, and you know who that defensive front features, right? If you can keep Dak Prescott clean to the point where 1 sack or fewer per game, and you have to figure out how to block better up front, wherein make teams bring that extra blitzer, because he thrives against the blitz, right? That's going to take a guy out of coverage. That's going to help the passing game. One thing handles the other thing, handles the other thing. So the quote for today is the Cowboys' pressure rate, although the offensive line has been upgraded, they're taking strides. Looking at these numbers, it's not just Tyler Guyton either. As a whole, as a unit, we talk about Zach Martin taking a couple steps back.
Yep.
Terrence Steele struggling, right? They need to come better cohesively and protect this quarterback. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see struggles because Dak Prescott, when you sack him 1.5 times or more, his career record is 500.
Well, the challenges don't stop with the offensive line because it'll be a dogfight on both sides of the ball in the trenches. But is the Cowboys' improvement on stopping the run good enough to stop a Lions backfield duo in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery? That's up next here on Cowboys Rewind.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today. And to watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.
From a quarterback that threw a perfect game in Week 4 to weapons that can pretty much line up with any defender on the field. And don't even get me started on a backfield duo that's averaging almost 150 yards a game in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. The Detroit Lions have it all, and all of that are the makings of the NFL's 3rd best offense. Well, how do you prepare for an offense of that caliber? Well, DeMarvion Overshone shares his thoughts.
It's just, they got guys everywhere. So basically, like we've been doing these last 2 weeks, just really stand attention to the details. You know, they got a huge trying to get explosive plays. So basically just making sure our eyes where they're supposed to be.
How different is it trying to defend Gibbs and Montgomery and the different styles they bring?
I think it's really just like you're gonna get that type of stuff every week. Just different backs being able to do different things. It's really just like staying locked into your technique, like making sure you do your assignment, and then the rest of the defense will take care of the players when they get the ball as a whole. You know, just rally to them. But basically just making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do on our part.
What would you say is unique to their offense in comparison to who else you've seen so far this season?
Definitely fast on the ball, and they want to get going. They want to keep going, and if it's working, you know, it's going to continue to keep showing up. So I definitely say I don't think their games have shown a lot of how explosive and how much on click their offense really is, but once they're going. So basically eliminating explosive plays, trying to get them to make them drive the field and score in the red zone is what we are playing.
What's it like facing a quarterback who completed every single pass in his last game out, like Jared Goff?
It's just, you know, he's a great quarterback. You know, that's all we can say about Jared Goff. He's a great quarterback. He's going to find his open receivers. You know, they usually have 5 out for him so he can find somebody and just let his receivers and athletes work. So basically just staying in our pass drops, you know, definitely just got to stay detailed and oriented.
Staying detailed, that's been a message from Jordan Lewis since week 4, but it'll take that and a certain edge to go up against a physical team like the Detroit Lions. So the Cowboys will lean on Jay Lou, who's been the tone setter, but ironically, who's also picked off Jared Goff in each of their 2 last meetings with the Lions.
Yeah, that means everything for me, because that's what football is about, honestly, being tough and going out there and, you know, outwilling the opponent and showing that, you know, you can impose your will on anybody. So honestly, that's what I go out there and try to do every single time I step out there.
You like getting chippy with the other team?
It's fun. Yeah.
Well, I know you got chippy on Sunday, and I remember last year against Detroit, there was some words with the Detroit receivers.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So.
Did that come back up this week?
I don't know, man. I just want to go out there and play good ball, honestly. So, I mean, if he bring the fight to me, then that's what it is. So, but honestly, I just want to go out there and prepare. Because they're a good team. You can't lose your head, go out there and, you know, just try to make it a brawl. But they're a good team. They're really focused. And I feel like they feel like they can win it all this year. So it's definitely going to be a good challenge.
We've got. I should know how much does that help your game, though? That's who you are. I mean, that kind of amps you up and gets you to play your best.
Yeah, I just love football, man. I just love to compete, man. And whenever somebody wants to, you know, I guess be my antagonist, I don't like that. So.
We've gotten to see your toughness for years and years here, but does it mean something for you to sort of display that on a national stage like you did?
I've been doing this since I've been little, so I mean, it don't matter who I play, where I play at. This is how I play ball.
You talked a lot about details. After losing to the Saints, losing to the Ravens, there's a lot of frustration. You talk about details in practice, keying on details in games. 2 wins in a row, stopping the run. How are you seeing those details and the progression in that kind of thing?
Honestly, just looking at the film and, you know, preparing, honestly, every single day. And that's what it comes down to, preparing like it's your last game, like it's the Super Bowl. So we got to do that every single game and understand that, you know, it's not a gimme. Nothing's a gimme in this league. You got to go out there and prepare like it's your last game.
No DeMarcus, no Micah last game. You lose Marshawn in the game. What did it mean to this group to perform like that, given those guys not being out there?
That's what we expect to do, honestly. I mean, we expect to go out there and perform like that, be on the details and play how we're supposed to play. It's tough, hard-nosed football. So that's what I feel like we're trying to get towards, and I feel like we took a good step in Pittsburgh.
But here in this first year with Zimmer and you're dealing with those injuries, how much can you build off of that?
Anytime you do anything good like that, you can build off of it. So when you can show that you can play at a high level and win games like that without turnovers, it's definitely a good thing.
The Lions have the weapons, they have the talent, but they also rank 20th in the NFL in red zone efficiency. So the key for the Dallas Cowboys defense to have some success is that red zone defense. But where else could the Dallas Cowboys take advantage in this matchup? That's up next here on Cowboys Rewind.
Cowboys Rewind was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. And by SWBC Mortgage, customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit swbc.com.
Just a few hours from kickoff in AT&T Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Detroit Lions. The Lions 3-1 and the Cowboys 3-2, and both teams walking in with a chip on their shoulders. The Lions, well, they made it pretty clear in press conferences all week long that they are on a mission after losing the last 5 straight matchups against the Cowboys. And the most recent, I think we all remember that one, the potential game-winning 2-point conversion after the refs ruled their left tackle didn't report as eligible. Well, the Cowboys, on the other hand, for starters, haven't won at home since they're looking to prove that they can, but they also need this win so bad. To walk into the bye week next week and have to play the 49ers is not something that they want to do. Can the Cowboys, though, continue their dominance over the Detroit Lions that they'd had over the last couple of years? Can they continue to overcome the adversity of being shorthanded in Week 6? Well, it's a 3:25 kickoff Central Time in AT&T Stadium. Grab your popcorn because it is going to be a good one over there in AT&T Stadium.